President Bush continues to make his case for an invasion of Iraq.
After carefully examining the region, me and my cabinet agree that that area is definitely ripe for regime change.
All right.
But if I...
Meanwhile, President Bush and British Prime Minister Tony Blair offered a spirited explanation for a possible war with Iraq.
This nigga very possibly has weapons of mass destruction. I can't sleep on that. Not on my watch. That's not how I roll. That is serious. Now, if you don't want to take my word for it, why don't you ask Tony Blair? He got a whole nother set of intelligence. What's up, Tony?
We don't know much about this man. And we can't trust random niggas with things like that. As George so eloquently put it, I'm with him 100% of the way. We don't know what he has.
Here's how I feel about Iraq. I feel like you guys keep trying to distract people with Iraq, but I'm focusing on other things, namely the moon. Yes, I said it, the moon. Can't be...
Congress shall now vote for approval of H.R. 8791, the Homeland Terrorism Preparedness Bill. Said bill requests emergency response funding up to and including, this section is classified, dollars to prepare for a national level terrorist attack and or attack from classified. Funding for first responder personnel and vehicles would be doubled if said attack leads to more than 80% of national population being affected by classified. This funding shall commence in conjunction with the first attack on classified or the first large-scale outbreak of classified, dependent upon which comes first. Civilian and military units shall be trained in containment and combat of classified, including irradiated classified with possibility of classified airborne, classified flesh-eating, classified and or all of the above in such event as classified spewing, classified escape are released or otherwise become uncontrollable. Air Force units may also be directed to combat said classified due to their enormous size and otherworldly strengths. Should event occur in urban areas, Jesus, that's classified, far surpassing our darkest nightmares. Should casualties exceed classified body disposal actions shall be halted and associated resources shall be reallocated to classified underground, classified protected birthing centers. A new Bill of Rights shall be drafted and approved by classified. Having now reviewed the bill, I ask you to please cast your vote.
Baseball. Remember Hank Aaron? He hit 714. This is the ball he hit it with. Yeah, I know Garbeck hit 4,000, but he had a laser bat.
Yes, man, hit him with a piece of wood. And what the hell you know about it? Your brain's about to fall out your head. Listen, hold it. Yeah, Starbuck. It must be for you. You said the ugliest? Yeah, your wife wants you to come home. He said, with the water, with the water. Okay. She said, water, go to water, get it, water, get it, water, get it. A double? You got it. You in love? That's all right. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. Here. Did you get on that hairdo? Hey, excuse me. I told you don't touch me. I don't give a damn what you're doing. Don't touch me. Oh, fun. One to go. Fuzz, you got to clean out one of them eyes. Hey, there ain't no dancing lot. You look just like a nigga from Detroit, I know. There ain't no dancing lot in here. Oh, I see. Well, why don't y'all go upstairs and get a room? Oh, show them upstairs. That's your type. You all right? You got a lot of heart, you know that? Hey, why don't you watch where you're going? You got the biggest eyes in the place. You see that? That was the devil, right? I know the devil when I see him.
Genesis 3:15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, between thy seed and her seed. This was God speaking to the serpent. Satan is known as the serpent, the dragon, and the devil. You can read that in Revelations 12:9. The great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Satan has seed in the earth, offspring, if you will. You can read that in Matthew 13:38. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. When did it all begin? Genesis 6:1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born unto them, the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and took them wives, all of which they chose. Now this is important. This is not a regular man sleeping with a woman. This is a son of God taking a daughter of man. Who are the sons of God? Job 1:6 tells us, now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan was among them. And Job 2:1, and again there was a day. when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also. Now, it's clear according to those two verses that Satan was considered a son of God. Now let's go back into the days of Noah and see what happened, because this will give us a better understanding. Let's read Genesis 6 and 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children unto them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Giants was mistranslated in the King James Version. The New International Version says Nephilim, which is a correct translation. We have to look into what Nephilim means to get a better understanding of the scripture. In Hebrew, Nephilim means the fallen ones, those who fell. So that's been mistranslated as giants. Now look at this skull. It's not a normal human skull. And they were really giant. In the days of Noah, it was a very wicked place because of the Nephilims. In Genesis 6 and 8 it says, But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generation. Noah walked with God. He was perfect because he did not mix with the Nephilims. And of course, Noah was a just man. Genesis 6 and 5, And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Jude 6, And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. So this is important. What did the angels do that caused such a great sin? Jude is quoting from the book of Enoch and continues. Jude 14. Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints. From the book of Enoch. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty, and the King of ages, and lo, the watchers called me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go declare to the watchers of the heaven, who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken to themselves wives. Ye have wrought great destruction on earth, and ye shall have no peace. Ye shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin, and insomuch as they delight themselves in their children, the murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament. And I saw the visions of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher, a holy one, came down from heaven. There, Daniel tells us a watcher is an angel. Daniel also warns us that they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Was Yeshua trying to warn us when he said, But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be? What was the key event in Noah's time? And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born unto them, the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives, all of which they chose. Unfortunately, the flood did not destroy all the Nephilims. Genesis 6, the Nephilims were on the earth in those days, and also after that. But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land, which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giant. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. So these men were compared to grasshoppers. Look at this graph. Look at 6 feet. Now look at 9 feet. 9 feet is not as a grasshopper. Those giants had to have been well over 13 feet. And of course, there is proof of Nephilims. If you do some research, you'll find that Nephilim burials and graves have been discovered. I just want to remind you that being abnormally tall is just one of the characteristics that a Nephilim may have. In the 1800s, in a burial mound in Pennsylvania, human skulls with horns were discovered. Horns that started at the eyebrow and extended 2 inches above. The skeletons were 7 feet tall. Other than the horns, it was anatomically normal. So whatever happened to these skulls? Well, the bones were sent to the American Investigative Museums in Philadelphia. They were stolen, never again to be seen. This happens often with discoveries of Nephilims. Deuteronomy 3:11. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Labat of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth thereof, after the cubit of a man. The standard cubit of a man likely refers to the ancient Hebrew common cubit of 17.5 inches in length. This would mean that his bedstead was after 13 feet in length and 6 feet broad. Some have hypothesized that Og was perhaps as tall as 12 feet, allowing an extra foot for clearance, but that conclusion is based solely on the length of the man's bedstead. Some sources say Og was taller than the wall of Kutel. 1 Samuel 17:3. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span, and he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. Some traits of the Nephilims are 6 fingers and 6 toes. 2 Samuel 2:20. And there went out in battle in Gath, where was a man of great stature, that had on every hand 6 fingers, and on every foot 6 toes, 24 in number, and he was also born of the Nephilims. While chances are you're not going to see a giant over 10 feet tall, Nephilims are still around. They might not be giant. They could be 6 feet tall, or they could even be 5 feet tall. They're mixed with the seed of men. So how do you know who are Nephilims? As Daniel 2:43 says, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. So you're not going to be able to detect them just by looking at them. Matthew 12:33. Either make the tree good and his fruits good, or else make the tree corrupt and his fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by his fruit. Was Yeshua speaking of the serpent seed line when he said this? Matthew 7:18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. So Nephilim isn't going to be good. The fruit of your body is your children. Someone who has a lot of children are considered to be fruitful. Deuteronomy 30:9. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, and in the fruit of thy body. This scripture shows two kinds of fruitfulness, that of your works and that of your body. So you can tell a Nephilim by his works and by his seed line. Who was his father? Was his father a Nephilim? Genesis 3:14. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, And I'll put enmity between thee and the woman, between thy seed and her seed. This scripture shows that Satan has children here on earth. He has offspring. Satan is known as the serpent, the dragon, and the devil. Revelations 12:9. So who started the serpent's seed line? Who was the serpent's son? Cain, perhaps? Keep an open mind while we look at the possibilities. Genesis 4:1. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel. She conceived two seeds. Cain and Abel were twins. Read again. She conceived and bare Cain, and she again bare his brother Abel. Genesis 5:1. This is the book of the generation of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. If Cain was Adam's son, he should be listed in a few moments, right? And Adam lived 130 years and begot a son, and in his own likeness and after his own image, and called his name Seth. It continues from there, and Cain is nowhere in sight. It is no surprise Cain is not listed. Let's make no excuses whether he was wicked or not. A son is a son. Nowhere in the Bible was a son not listed in genealogy because he was evil. This is no different. But is it possible for a woman to conceive twins by two different fathers? Yes, it's called this big word that I can't pronounce. Fertile twins were formed when two separate eggs are fertilized by two sperms. If a woman has contact with two different partners within her fertile time period and has multiple ovulation, it is possible for her to have fertile twins with two different fathers. This is an example of two twins by two different fathers, and this is another example. In the news, a Croatian woman who slept with two men at the same time has given birth to twins with two different fathers. The 23-year-old student has been named MB, gave birth to non-identical twins 7 months ago. However, she revealed that the DNA testing has shown that the children have different fathers. She told Daily, I was shocked at getting pregnant, and I even was more shocked when the doctors told me that my sons had different fathers. 3 HS cases were found in a parentage test database of 39,000 records. The frequency of HS among twins whose parents were involved. Yahushua warned us about reptilians or Nephilims. Matthew 13:38. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. Matthew 3:7. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and the Sadducees coming into the baptism, he said unto them, O generations of vipers, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come? John 8:44. Ye are your fathers the devil, and the lust of your fathers ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning. Was he referring to Cain, perhaps? Genesis 4:8. And Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. Matthew 12:34. O generations of vipers, how can ye, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaketh. Shapeshifter or bloodline, I can't say, but he continues to call them vipers and serpents. Matthew 23:33. Ye serpents, ye generations of vipers, how can ye escape the damnations of hell? Look at these shapeshifters. To this day, the dragon or the serpent signifies divine heritage and royalty in many Asian countries, while in the West, the serpent represents wisdom and knowledge. They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Daniel 2:43. Was Yahushua trying to warn us? Matthew 24:37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Genesis 6. The Nephilims were on the earth in those days and also afterward. I would like to go deeper into this concerning strange events of Noah's times. What could be more stranger than Nephilims or giants, half man, half beast, and so-called mythical creatures? Isaiah 34:14. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl, Lilith, also shall rest there and find herself a place of rest. Later translations for Lilith. 2 Samuel 23:20. And Benoniah, son of Jehoiada, son of a valiant man of Kabzeel, who had done many mighty acts, slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. And the book of Jashar is mentioned in the Bible. You can read it in Joshua 10:13, and you can also read it in 2 Samuel 1:18. And it wasn't included in the canon because it wasn't believed to be inspired. Yet the Bible quotes it, as well as many other rejected books. Could this be the reason? And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals of one species with another, in order to provoke the Lord. And God saw the whole earth, and it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its ways upon the earth, all men and all animals. Is history repeating itself as prophesied? But as the days of Noah were, so also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Jashar 36:30. 120 terrible animals from the wilderness came to the asses of Anan. Their shape was from the middle downward of the children of men, and from the middle upward some to the likeness of bears. And it was one day that Zepho lost a young heifer, and he went to seek it. And he heard it lowering around about the mountain. And Zepho went, and he saw, and behold, there was a large cave at the bottom of the mountain. And there was a great stone there at the entrance of the cave. And Zepho split the stone, and he went to the cave, and he looked, and behold, a large animal devouring an ox. And from the middle upward it resembled a man, and from the middle downward it resembled an animal. And Zepho rose up against the animal and slew it with his sword. Sherry Shiner, today's society is doomed to repeat the errors of the ancient ancestors by once again falling prey to the Watcher's sorceries and claim of divinity. Already far too many are under the sway of UFO cults and spirit guides. Here to help humanity. Was half human, half animal a thing of the past? Will it be the future? Research mixing human and animal egg and sperm has garnered considerable ethical concern and been banned in several countries. The banning was started in part by fears that scientists will create animals with human genes or other ethically questionable organisms, in part by the concerns that mixing animal and human materials diminishes the sanity of human life. For example, in the United Kingdom, proposals to use an animal egg for human cloning sparked outcry from an overzealous media poured in half-human creatures. While sailing the ocean near Haiti, Christopher Columbus in 1493 reported seeing 3 mermaids from a distance. He wasn't impressed. Up close, the sea maidens were not as pretty as they were depicted. He wrote in his journal, for somehow in their face they looked like men. In 1403 it was said that mermaids was found. Becalmed in shallow water at Edam in Holland, she became accustomed to life, but never learned how to speak. She lived for some 15 years after she was captured and was given a Christian burial.
Terry, welcome to Weekend Rockford.
Good to be here, yes.
Now,
even though I'm not there.
Yeah, well, you are on the show, even if you're not in the studio. But yes, you have written a book called Amazing Evidence, Grounds for Belief. You've actually self-published the book. You have chapters on various things throughout the book, but probably one of the most, amazing is a discovery that you believe you made just by looking on Google Earth on the internet. Tell us about that.
Yes, my son and I were trying to document some of the things in the book, so we were looking at satellite coordinates, and we were in Google Earth, and we were near Mount Sinai in Saudi Arabia, and it looked like a skeleton went across the screen, and we just got excited, and we scrolled back to the thing, and sure enough, there's this massive skeleton-looking object right in the shadow of Mount Sinai. And when I say Mount Sinai, I'm referring to the location that Ron Wyatt and Bob Cornuke present evidence for, not the traditional site. But we went back and we measured the skeleton, and just the head portion of it was the size of a football field. And then the whole thing was 1,900 feet long. So it was pretty exciting.
Now, you believe that this could possibly be somehow related to the huge sea monster that the Bible mentions called Leviathan.
Right. At first, we didn't know what we were looking at, and I started looking at different sources. We searched the internet. We couldn't find anything on it. And so I started reading the Bible and looking up different things in the Bible. We decided it was a serpent because of the structure and the length, even though it's not really like a snake skeleton, but it's serpent-like. And so Leviathan popped up right away as a sea serpent. The Bible portrays it as being massive, and we really thought that was probably it. And then there were a couple of verses in the Bible that support the fact that he would be found near Mount Sinai. One of those is where David in the Psalm says that Leviathan was crushed in the wilderness. And usually when the Bible talks about the wilderness, it's talking about the area around Mount Sinai where the children of Israel wandered. And then another place is in Isaiah. It's a taunt against actually the king of Babylon, and he compares him to Lucifer and says that he tried to climb the holy mountain and that God cast him to the ground to his grave. And so there's another picture, even though it doesn't mention Leviathan, it kind of paints a picture that's strikingly similar to what we see here.
Mm-hmm. A very interesting book, looks at a lot of interesting things. Terry, thank you very much. Terrence J. Hatch, author of Amazing Evidence, Grounds for Belief. Thank you very much for being our guest today.
As the people of Tamil Nadu continue to rebuild after last December's devastating tsunami, the ocean has begun to offer up more than just destruction and heartbreak. Just a short distance from the discovery of a centuries-old city at Mahabalipuram, archaeologists have made another stunning find.
I heard legends since I was a child about the giant creatures that once lived here, but now it seems those stories are true.
Half buried in the sand and stretching 150 feet beneath the ocean lies something that may change paleontologists' understanding of prehistoric biology. Archaeologists are excavating what appears to be the fossilized remains of a giant creature. As yet unidentified, the remains are being examined to help scientists solve this colossal mystery. For Shreyas News India, this is Rupa Sridharan reporting.
This is convincing evidence that the celestial giants are real.
Today astronomers look for this planet. They call it Planet X. They mean maybe the unknown planet, but it's also the 10th planet. They called it Nibiru, which means planet of the crossing, and the ancient symbol was the cross, not from Christian times, but from 6,000 years ago. And they say that this planet, the 12th member of our solar system, has a very large orbit of 3,600 years, and every 3,600 years it comes between Mars and Jupiter close to us. And it is then, they said, that people that look like us, not with little horns or green, people that look like us started to come between their planet and Earth about 450,000 years ago. Why do they look like us? We look like them. Because if you know the Bible, which is based on the Sumerian tales, at some point they engaged in genetic engineering and mixed their genes with the genes of Homo erectus. We can use various scientific terms, but let's say with early hominids to bring about Homo sapiens, us.
Well, where did all this come from? And I think that you need to turn to the ancient Sumerians themselves and listen very carefully to what they have to say, because what they have to say, not just in one place, but over and over and over again, is that they were taught civilization by these beings that came from the heavens to the earth. They call them the Anunnaki.
The Sumerians wrote down their history on clay tablets like these, which lay ignored in a Berlin museum for half a century. Few people have been able to decipher this ancient language, but one of them is Zechariah Sitchin.
The writings and the pictorial evidence left behind by the Sumerians going back 6,000 years speak and depict people who came from another planet called Nibiru, and many of the depictions show them much bigger, at least by a third, perhaps more than the average human being, so they were giants.
This Sumerian cylinder seal from a Berlin museum is astonishing for several reasons. First, it depicts our solar system with the sun at the center and the planets arrayed around it, a fact not known to European science till around 300 years ago. It also shows the planet Pluto, which we didn't discover till 1930. And amazingly, there's another planet, which the Sumerians called Nibiru, and believed that it was from where the Anunnaki, or celestial giants, came from.
If you look at the three figures depicted here, they all look more or less the same size. But if you bear in mind that this figure of the deity, that he is seated, and you add from the knee to the hip to his size, you will realize that he is about 10 feet tall, a giant, one of those who from heaven to earth came.
Looking for signs of extraterrestrial life, astronomers have searched deeper and deeper into the universe. But all along, maybe they should have been looking closer to home. For it's in our own solar system that a mysterious object has recently been detected, near where the Sumerians placed their planet Nibiru, home of the Anunnaki. For the believers, this is convincing evidence that the celestial giants are real.
The ancient Sumerian text, just in a very broad overview, basically tell us that more than 400,000 years ago that these Anunnaki came from space and landed on the earth in the Tigris-Euphrates Valley. They began to set up a colony that they called Eden.
According to Genesis, Eden, or Eden, is where Adam was created from dust and Eve from one of his ribs. Others, however, have a more high-tech version of how human life began.
In time, needing manpower, needing workers, jumped the gun on evolution using genetic engineering.
And they produced a hybrid which eventually became Cro-Magnon or modern man.
Legend has it that when the Anunnaki came back after several thousand years to see how their genetic handiwork had turned out, they found the Earth females irresistibly attractive.
It starts in the Bible. There you can read, in the beginning at Moses, when the sons of the gods saw that the daughter of man were beauty, they took them to wife. Later, out of the body's womb, giants came.
So destructive were these titans that the Anunnaki who fathered them decided to destroy them. The apocryphal book of Baruch even tells us how many giants were wiped out.
The book of Baruch says, "Then the Lord created the great flood, destroyed all life, which then was on earth, including the 490,000 giants."
50,000 years ago, an advanced race of beings came to Earth. They established a civilization here that became known as Atlantis. Modern humans inherited everything from these alien visitors, according to Sarian. In fact, we are them.
They interfered with the indigenous population of this planet. And when I say interfere, I mean genetically, biologically.
Alien blood. The idea blows a hole through mainstream theories of human evolution.
In northern Kenya, they have found the boy, the skeleton of what is believed to be one of our oldest ancestors.
By using carbon dating on that skeleton and others, scientists have formed a consensus about when the first humanoids evolved. But something extraordinary happened 30,000 years ago. After millions of years of slow evolution, humans began a rapid advance, from cave painters to sophisticated pyramid builders.
You don't have pyramids, and you don't have basket weaving, and you don't have metallurgy, and you don't have all of these anomalies just popping out of the blue. We have whole mathematical concepts with no antecedent, stages, which we know must have existed.
This knowledge could only come from alien visitors, says Sarian. And it was bestowed upon the citizens of Atlantis, transforming the island into the intellectual beacon of the pre-ancient world.
It's bigger than Rome, it's bigger than Egypt, it's bigger than Greece. Atlantis is bigger even than our own cyber age, actually. Because the further we get away from it in time, there it looms on the road ahead of us again.
Sarian is convinced there were some 500 alien visitations during the time of Atlantis. And because of the spectacular nature of these encounters, there is evidence if you know where to look.
In the coffin texts of the Egyptians, we hear about crafts that come and pick up princesses and fly them to foreign shores in an instant. We have the Laura caves in India where you can actually go and look at them. These wall reliefs where it literally shows you crafts with little people inside them, the gods, above the tree line, and all the heads of the people are looking up.
I am definitely sure that we have been visited several times in antiquity by extraterrestrials.
It's been 40 years since Eric von Daniken first wrote about ancient astronauts in his book Chariots of the Gods. Since that time, authors like Zecharia Sitchin have gone to the far ends of the earth looking for clues, painstakingly piecing together enough fragmentary evidence to build a new theory of human evolution.
A basic conclusion of my writings has been that those who gave mankind civilization were visitors to Earth from another planet. If I say extraterrestrials, it's a dirty word, but that's what they were. This is called a
Sitchin is one of the few people on Earth able to read 6,000-year-old Sumerian texts. These writings, according to Sitchin, contain unmistakable clues to ancient intergalactic space travel.
And in order to come and go between them, their planet and our planet, they needed a space facility. The space facility was in a place in Mesopotamia, in today's Iraq. The mission control center was at a place called Nippur, and the actual spaceport was in a place called Sipar, which can be translated as Bird City. Many of them were depicted as birdmen with wings.
I got a big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get me high tonight.
A big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get us high tonight.
I got a big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get me high tonight.
A big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get us high tonight.
Espionage, y'all. Espionage, y'all. Boy, espionage, y'all. It's the bass, bro. That Neptune nigga from space, though. It's NERD, that's my place, yo. Yo, changing the world, that's my chase, yo. First changing your mind, that's my case, yo. Still a nigga like me about my payroll, but it's what you do to get the peso. See, some of y'all do dirt and lay low. See, you either got horns or a halo with a fresh pair of wings. Gotta determine the side you're gonna lean, but it's hard to stay awake when you realize you dream, huh? See, it ain't what you think, ma. I ain't pushing rhymes, pushing paper and ink, ma. I'm just trying to deliver my thesis. Life is a puzzle that we're doing its pieces. Or maybe we're the paper and the alien reads us. Or maybe I should stop drinking sex on beaches, I got a big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get me high tonight.
A big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get us high tonight.
I got a big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get me high tonight.
A big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get us high tonight.
Espionage, y'all. What? Espionage, y'all. What? Espionage, y'all. What? Espionage, y'all. What?
My body and spirit, I just separated that. Just left Jupiter, had fun, I made it back. And many people went, never came back. Guess shit happened when fools use the same crack. Diamond in the back, and the sun is a star. If the sun is a star, then I'm not by far. I'm a nothing in the world, or something that's unseen. In my eyes tell lies, and in lies I'm human being. And everything ain't what it may seem. Too many folks living a dream. This ain't a movie scene, ain't no red carpet here, ain't no fans to scream. You know life can be depressing and dressing your deepest fears, so you try to get away from it all and have a cold beer. You can never run from the speed of light, cause in the night sky, I'm the only thing shining bright. And this could be the night that I fall, I need for you to hold me tight, I never seen Earth so beautiful. Step back and thought to myself, I wrote a bunch of
bull. I got a big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get me high tonight.
A big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get us high tonight.
I got a big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get me high tonight.
A big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get us high tonight.
Espionage, y'all. What? Espionage, y'all. What? Espionage, y'all. What? Espionage, y'all. What?
Just stand back, on the earth look green as hell. More greener than a pickle kosher deal. But if you see nothing but some people killed, then pollution is probably all you feel. Now when I got the whole world in my hand, you know I'm picking up the empty crushed soda cans. Ooh, now we starving for real, cause every burger on the Milky Way is high on the bill. So pack your bags, I grab my keys, and after a couple of martinis we'll probably leave. And we ain't riding on 23. This is how we get to another galaxy.
I got a big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get me high tonight.
A big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get us high tonight.
I got a big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get me high tonight.
A big white spaceship with green windows, and it's gonna get us high tonight.
Espionage, y'all. What? Espionage, y'all. What? Espionage, y'all. What? Espionage, y'all. What?
It was a conventional wisdom, both in science and theology, that we were alone in the universe. And I don't think people really believe that anymore, but that was a conventional wisdom. And the UFO reports have been going on for at least 20 years before that, and some almost 30 years before that. And being denied and swept under the rug and covered up and filled with disinformation.
I think the public is ready to know if anyone has visited us. They can accept that and they want it.
Shit, how many of y'all believe in aliens? I think there's some aliens for real. How many of y'all believe? Smart motherfuckers. The rest of y'all arrogant as motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be out your fucking mind to think we the only shit in the universe. You know what I'm saying? You look at all the diverse life on this one planet. Birds, snakes, alligators, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my! I mean, look at the diversity just amongst human beings, you know what I'm saying? Like, God gonna create all this life here and then just say, all right, everything else will be lights. Light it up for them at night. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah, some motherfucking aliens out here. Reason they don't come here, bad news travel fast. We known throughout the universe as the fucked up planet. That's why motherfuckers say they seen a UFO. They don't say it landed, came in the house, or cooked it dinner. You know what I'm saying? Them motherfuckers ain't landing. Shit, they be on the spaceship, man. This is probably just the fucked up planet tour. They get a little pamphlet and shit. Costs 500 kugels to come to this motherfucker. Motherfuckers sitting on the spaceship looking out the window. Hey, come on, let's go down there. Let's mess with them. What? Shut the fuck up. They fight over black and white. We purple. What the fuck you think they gonna do to us? Now look your ass out the window, let's go.
A las 5:40 de la tarde, el objeto duró en el mismo sitio durante 20 minutos. Luego bajó un poco a la altura de los cables de la luz, encima de algunos edificios. Según William Chávez, el ovni aterrizó en suelo terrestre, cerca del humedal Córdoba.
El ovni aterrizó, ¿sí? Y de ahí, en la comunicación telepática con ellos, se nos indica a todos los seres de la Tierra de que va a haber una aparición masiva de naves y que no solo los medios de comunicación los van a filmar, todo el mundo los va a ver.
The Sun reported Friday a large, unidentified flying object hovering over Moscow's Kremlin. According to The Sun, witnesses said the pyramid-shaped object could be as big as a mile wide. And while Russian reports have ruled out UFO speculation, The Sun says the police have refused to comment and aerospace experts are stumped. This is Lauren McCaffrey for nypost.com.
Поехали объедем так быстро. Сейчас я отшибусь отсюда. Оттуда будет видно с той стороны? Может. Высоко висело вроде. Смотри, тут какие-то ментовские ряды стоят. Новость сегодня была про будут разгоняться тучи, может, это связано с этим? Установили. Слушай, она какая-то автономная вообще, сама по себе будет. Смотри, есть она, за что-то держится, да? Ну или правда что-то какое-то, может. Завтра, наверное, скажут, что это такое. Явно все. Или сегодня скажут уже. Разводом туч. Я же здесь был, днем не было ничего.
With this amazing flying structured craft,
has no earthly explanation. It was seen over the small farming village of Kibbutz Hatzor for 3 consecutive nights in August of 1996. This video, shot by a young resident of the kibbutz, shows a bizarre-looking, partially lit craft with strange red markings and rectangular shapes. When the camera zooms in, we see what appears to be a light on the craft's left side take on amazing structure. The structure, some say, resembles a huge flying building with hallways. 17-year-old Amiche Shoah was stunned to be awakened by the strange, bright object in the night sky. He watched in amazement as it hovered above for hours. He waited for its return the next night, video camera in hand. By the third night, word of the strange craft had spread, and some 60 members of the kibbutz came out to see it in all its glorious color. This time, Amiche's batteries failed, but he managed to film the odd craft again using a neighbor's camera. Look what he managed to capture on tape. The structure is so massive that the illuminated portion is said to represent only 5 to 7% of its actual size. Is this the design of some otherworldly architect? As incredible as it sounds, some UFO researchers claim it could be housing alien inhabitants, giant aliens as described in the Bible.
No one has ever seen one like this before.
Выйди в машину. Приблизь, Миша, приблизь. Ну что это такое?
Big vertical streaks.
It's a country that's been at war for half a decade, so it's nothing new to see aircraft in the skies above Iraq. But the web's alive with questions over footage which seems to show something else.
I have no idea what the hell they are.
Earlier this year, a group of Marines saw something in their night vision they couldn't explain.
Is that the main one over there? Yeah.
They were used to seeing flares on the skyline, but this they thought was different.
Man, that's weird. Let me see your lighter.
This video shows the aftermath of a bombing in the northern city of Kirkuk in September 2006. As the cameras capture the rescue effort, one is taken by an object on the skyline. Lastly, dating from 1998, a triangular object over Baghdad that disappears as quickly as it arrives.
Still shows up hotter on the thermal than everything around it, which is interesting. And right now, with this cold rain coming down, I can't believe anything has a temperature differential.
What is that?
See that light? It just pulsed on for a second. There's nobody out here. There's nothing down there that would generate a light source.
It's weird because the ocean's right there. It's the beach.
It looks like it's in the field between here and the ocean. Right there, right there. I see it again, right there. Where? Right there, see it?
What's that? I see movement up there. Where? Right up there. On the second structure. Right there.
Hold on. Whatever it was, it's like I saw it for a second, and then it's almost just like it was like smoke, like it just vanished.
See? Don't move in there. No, there's a motorcycle. See?
I don't see nothing down there. Can't be the motorcycles, honey. There's another sparkle. You see what I'm saying?
What is that?
Tree.
No. You moved it, right? Right there. See it?
Uh-huh.
Look.
There's nobody there. I can't see.
Look. Look at those people.
Can't be.
There's nobody.
Not up in the trees.
There's nobody down there no more. See?
This is what a security camera at Hampton Court captured on tape about 3 weeks ago. Is this a ghost?
Right, now what this is the security staff heard an alarm go off, which actually meant that the fire doors were open. They rushed to it and there was nothing there. The doors were closed, actually, when they got there. Now, if we'll go back through this again. On CCTV camera, but not seen by anybody with the naked eye, was this. Can we see it again, please, now? Okay.
There are other CCTV cameras around Hampton Court, particularly after that fire. Nobody was seen approaching this particular spot. You don't see the doors actually being pushed open by hand. Figure strides forward and slams them shut. As you can see, and close-ups have shown that it appears to be dressed in medieval clothes, similar to what Henry VIII would have worn. But the key thing is it happened 3 days on the run. That's the only time that a figure actually appeared on the camera, and the other CCTV cameras and witnesses around saw nobody.
Hör mal auf!
Was denn?
Wir haben was ganz Spießiges gemacht. Wir sind super spießig mit so einem Touriboot in die Gegend gefahren, 3 Stunden lang. Und krass, was ist das denn?